Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video and another stream. Welcome. Jwanajimaeo. That's good morning in Korean. Although they don't say it like that very often, but still. Anyway, where are we? Well, we're continuing on the build of the 1/35th scale Panther tank right here by Meng. And so, kind of, here we are. This is what we got done so far. So last time I finished off assembling this little piece right here. Okay, that guy there. And then I decided to continue on off camera, just adding some of the little kibble and bits on the sides. These little guys here and here. Bottom half mostly, yes you Ella, that's right. Yeah, still a lot to go. But the wheels and tracks, those are going to be like almost last, because there are some panels that have to come dropping down here, so you do have to have that all on first, but otherwise you can't get them in there. But we'll worry about that when the time comes, right? For now, I added on these little bits here, here, this little rail that goes along there. Same on this side, another one here, there's a rail here, and then another railing here. Put those on, and then as you can tell, all of a sudden there's some gold pieces on here. And that's the photo etched. Little grills to cover the engine parts and stuff like that. I still have one more to go here. I started working on this piece right here. This is some kind of a heater, they call it, and it would go right here. And I got about 3/4 of it done, and then I realized it's only the version A of this tank that has this. The other versions don't. So, yeah, I just left it as that, and the version D that we're building, it has this, and it goes right there, right? And that's basically what I got left to put on there, and of course one more grill here. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Get these two pieces installed, and then we're going to continue on. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So let's do that. Get this guy glued on. There we go. Okay, he's now in his home. But we have this piece here, and that's just one of these little grills. There's 4 of them. If I can pick this up here. This guy here. It's absolute. The fit on this is absolute perfection. It just fits in there just perfectly. And yeah, so perfectly it's really hard to get it out of there. There we go, just like that. I had it flipped around wrong. Okay, so, but of course, photo etch, you need to use CA glue. So I'm going to do that. Four little corners here. Just a little bit of a dab is all I need. You don't need a lot. Because it does sit down very nicely onto the part. I actually have just a little too much there, and so I'm going to use a Q-tip to kind of get rid of that because I don't want it to squeeze out. There we go. Okay. Just kind of line it up where it goes. Drop it in. And there we go. And this piece is now in its home, where it belongs, just like that. Just like his 4 friends, or his 3 friends. I can count, really, I can. Okay, so with that done, our next step, we're not doing the tracks, right? Those are being saved for later. Okay, and this is what I did. We did the fronts yesterday, put the little machine gun on the front of the turret there. We already did this, right? Put that guy on there. And we did that. So, and that, with this, we finished up the fender pieces, and then I had the little kibble on the side, these little racks or whatever they want to call them. Did that. So what I did off camera yesterday as well is I added these little, I guess they're lifting hooks. They're all over the place on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them all the way around on here. And these 2 little guys here, which are similar to these guys going along these railings. Okay, I added those. So now with this top all done, that's everything here. This page is finished, and so we're going to move on. Moving on, we've got more kibble things to put on the sides, little railings, little things like this. But I don't want to do that today. I'm not going to bother with you guys with all these little parts and pieces that are going on the sides. I want to get more into the meat and potatoes of this thing. I mean, all I'm going to be doing, adding some spare track pieces that go along the sides here. There's a shovel, looks like an axe of some sort, canister or something. Yeah, so we're just going to move on for now. I'll do all that on my spare time. Let's get into some more meat and potatoes here. Let's get into the actual turret. So we can put this aside. Let's get into the turret, okay? And there's even like a cable, doing the cables that are going to run from the front to the back here. Yeah, that's pretty minor stuff. Let's get into the actual building of this thing. So, turret. There we go. Rear turret armor plate assembly. And these are going to be off the C tree. So let's get our C. Here's our C. C. Look at that. How about that? The tank's got a roll cage, just like a race car. How about that, eh? It's not really a roll cage, but whatever. So C-17. Isn't that an airplane? C-17. This big plate right here. Doink. And we need a little tiny piece, C-53. 53. 48 for 9. 53. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh, careful. Where'd you go? There you are. Sometimes on the white paper and the light color of the plastic, it's easy to lose the pieces when I drop them, or even I just put them down. I tend to lose them. That's fine. Let's clean this up. Okay, so that little guy, he's going to go in here. Looks like it's just a little handle or something like that. So let's get him oriented in the way that he's supposed to go. Okay. It's proof the camo on the tank works. That's right. That is correct. It makes it hard to see, then the camo is working. There we go. The little handle is on. I do only have it glued on the one edge, so I'm going to glue the other edge so that will stay forever. Okay. Next, we have C38, big round piece. C38, where are you? There you are. The first thing C38 is going to get is a little treatment of these nubs. And we've got a couple of holes we need to drill in it. Okay. So, looking at this guy, we need to drill a couple of what they're calling is 0.7 millimeter holes, but I'm just going to pick a bit that matches up as closely as I can with these holes. Way too big and way too big. Too big. That looks pretty good right there. Okay. Two tiny little holes. There we go. And just use my knife to get rid of the burrs. Looks like there's going to be a little handle going in there. It kind of makes you wonder, like, why did they make me drill the holes? They clearly have the ability to put the holes in themselves in the molding process. Unless the handle is an option, but they aren't showing that it's an option, like it's mandatory to put the handle on. That is C1. C1 is going in there. So, why? Why make me drill the holes? You know what I mean? Not that it's the end of the world or anything. It's not a terrible thing I had to drill the holes, but, you know. What if I was somebody who didn't have a pin vise? And I didn't have the tool to actually drill the holes? You know, see, once again, there it is. I suppose there's other things you could do. You could take a pin, like, you know, like a thumbtack or something like that, and you could take a little lighter and you could heat up the pin and poke it through. That would be an option if you didn't have access to something like a pin vise. You could take could you do? You could take an X-Acto knife and start to drill the hole through from one side, and then just before it pokes through, you could drill it from the other side so that the hole doesn't get too big. And you could get away with that with an X-Acto knife, I guess. Making sure my little latch is perpendicular to the handle. A little bit of glue on the other side just to make sure it's going to stay. So there's that. Excuse me. Okay, so we have C1 matched to C38, and then they want it to go onto this, and that's if you want to do the hatch closed. We could do the hatch open, however, and that would require putting a hinge and everything on it. But again, there's no interior of this thing, so having the hatch open, especially like this is the back of the thing. Let's just jump ahead, skip ahead from here to here. C7 is our roll cage thing. I just want to see how that's going to fit on here. Okay. So here's our roll cage. This is going to go, there's a piece that goes on first, but that's basically going to go here. And there's going to be nothing to see. This is going to sit, in theory, it's going to be about there, with this sitting on top. And what are you going to see? You're going to see the bracing on the inside. So why bother having it open, right? So I think closed is the way to go, and so that's what I'm going to do. And it sits like this. It's cool that there's the option to have it open. I will agree to that. But, and if you had bought a kit that has the interior detail, then yeah, you know, like the engine and all that stuff and whatever, the operator's compartment, then that makes sense. Have the hatch open so you can see in there, right? But I think hatch closed is better this way. And so there we go. So that's done. This page is now done other than these panels. So we're going to work on this part. So we got to get C13, and then we're going to drill a bunch of holes. We've got different holes depending on whether we're doing the A version or the D. And of course we're doing the D, right? Got to remember that we're doing the D. So C13. This panel right here. Right there. And we're going to need C32 and C40. There's 32 and we need 40. Okay, but first we're drilling holes. Well, actually, first we're going to clean this out. It's going to be interesting to see how the anti-aircraft armor comes into play on this panel and what it's going to do for the detail. Because as you guys seen in my previous videos, there is a big sheet of photo etch. This guy here that goes over top, right? It would go like this, goes over top of it like that, and basically gets rid of it. You don't get to see all the detail underneath when this is put on there. So we'll see how that looks. I do want to put it on there. It makes sense that, you know, that's something they used and they had it on there. Unfortunately, it just takes away from a lot of the detail underneath. It's just one of those things, I guess. Okay, so with our little pieces cleaned up here, we're going to go and see what holes we need to drill. Got all kinds of little holes in here, depending on what you're going to be doing. So with the D, we're only doing this one, and looks like this one, and that's it. Or maybe not even this one, because they don't have the line from the D going to that, to this one, only this one. A would be this one, and this one, these three. There's a lot more that they're not even telling me to drill out. It's kind of strange. Anyway, so I need to drill out that one. And that's a different size than this. It's good to see the gauges on a plane, but if the interior is empty, it's not a feature. Yeah, exactly, right? And at the same time, if the gauges are detailed on an aircraft model, but then your canopy is completely blank and you can't see through it, then why bother doing the detail on the gauges other than to say, I know it's there and I did it, right? There we go, that's a good size. And get rid of the burrs. There we go. Okay, new hole. And again, I don't know if I need to do that other one, but I guess we'll get there when we get there, right? It looks like I was correct in assuming I don't need to do that one, because the piece that would go there is only if I'm doing the A or the B. So there we go. No, I am wrong. I'm wrong. I gotta do this one. There we go. That's why it's a good thing to double and triple check your instructions. A little bit of flashing on me in here, inside there. Another piece. I don't know if any of this is going to interfere with the installation or not, but there we go. Okay, so we got C32, this guy here, and he's going to go right here. And he's sticking up quite a bit, and it's a little bit strange how it doesn't quite fit. It's almost like, yes, here we go. The nub marks, the nubs sticking up too tall. There we go. Okay. He goes right here, just like that. Okay. And then our little guy, and he goes in this hole here that we just did. Just like that. Okay. And now we need M41. M41. Where's our M tree? Here's M. M41. There's 42. 41's already been taken. Ah. Yeah. That's got to be a typo. I'm going to use, it's either a typo or earlier on when I put this exact same piece on the upper hull, I chose 41 and I was supposed to choose 42. They're identical. The exact same piece. Let's go back and have a look. Shall we? It's the exact same part. It's M12. Strange. Yeah, there's 12 and 13, and there they are there. 41 was a much different piece. I am the M tree. This is M41 right here, but there was a totally different piece. It's got to be a typo in the manual. It's the only thing I can think of. Because this is totally the piece that they want to put there. It's totally the piece. And so that's what I'm putting there. It's that camo again. I don't think it's the camo. It's just they chose the wrong. They typed in the wrong number when they're making the manual, I think. I'll have to flip back and search for M41 in another spot. Okay, so now we got another clear piece, and that's going to go right in here. That's H1. That's another one of these little clear guys that I was trying to avoid using before because I was hoping to not have to mask it off when it comes to painting. So again, we've got this chamfered on one edge here, and we want that chamfer to face the back or face towards the big hole. And that's going to go in there like this. Okay. Okay, so that's that. We have it facing the right way. Yes, we do. All good. Now, we're going to take our roll cage. Now, we have to get rid of this cross bracing on the top. This is not going to fit with it in there. Go. Now this will go on top, and it's a pretty well perfect fit. Got a little bit I need to clean up there. It is a very tight fit. Looks good. I am pressing down a little bit hard on here just to make sure it's going to sit in the groove properly, because that is a big deal. And I'm going to glue it from underneath too. Just to make sure. That it's going to stay. And there'll be no possibility of it lifting up in the future. There we go. Our roof is on. Okay. Now we have this piece, which actually I thought is going to go here, but it actually goes on this side. Like so. Which means I need to clean up the nubs here and here a little better. They are kind of visible. I mean, in the end, it will add a little character to it if I don't get it perfect, but if I can clean it up, I want to clean it up as nice as I can, you know. Speaking of nubs, I need to clean up these because panels are going on top of these, and if I don't clean up the nubs on this, then what happens is they don't fit flush. And structural parts like this, where it's all just the inner bracing to assemble all the armor plates together, it doesn't have to be pretty, for the most part anyway, because it doesn't ever get seen. You know, panels go over top of this and then you don't see this part anymore. my case in point, there's a nub right there. I didn't bother cleaning that off, and yet you're never going to see it. And it didn't interfere with anything fitting, so it didn't matter. Oh, there's another one right there, and another one there, and another one right there. Didn't interfere with anything. No harm, no foul. Now, this on. There we go. All right, that panel. Now I'm second guessing, is this the front? And we need to get C29. It's going to go on the back here. I'm saying back because I'm assuming this is the rear. I don't know for sure though. C29. This guy here. These terrible nubs. Oh, I saw Nico, your comment about Canada and how you thought it was always freezing up here and there's be no need for air conditioning. Well, here's a little lesson for you. We actually do get temperatures into the 30s and even the 40s. Now that's Celsius, so I don't know if you use Celsius where you are. If you use Fahrenheit, we're talking like more in the 90s to 100s. Okay, we get temperatures like that in the summertime. It gets hot here. This is a bit of a tight fit on this guy here. Doesn't want to stay put. So let's take a look. Yeah, we've got some flashing. That's preventing a nice flush fit. Should be, that looks a bit better. Let's see here. Another test fit. It's still kind of tight, but at least it's staying now. I'm much happier with that fit. Such a good fit, why do you need the clamp? Well, because I want it to hold in that spot while the glue sets. Okay, so while that's just sitting for a moment, we need C, 5, 6, and 8. 5, 6. 8. And you see they've done it again. Put a piece in the middle of a piece that I'm not using right now. Okay, so I purposely made left these nub marks large, and I'm going to go a little bit different route. I'm going to get out my God hand nippers to clean these ones up, just because these are much sharper and they clean up the nub just in a much cleaner way. There we go. And finally tidy him up with the knife. Now, why did I use the God hand nippers on it instead of just my regular ones? Because they are much sharper than my regular nippers, and so they actually cut into the plastic better because they're sharper. See, what can happen when your nippers aren't all that sharp? What happens, instead of it cutting the plastic, it kind of tears it. And you don't really notice it too much, but what can actually happen is as it bites into the plastic to cut, it actually takes it and kind of just grabs it and pulls it. And so you wind up actually not having a nub sticking out, but it actually will be an indent. And then you can't, it's hot enough to melt the glue. You can't clean it up. You try and clean it up with your knife, but it's now a little bit of a hole in the plastic rather than a nub sticking out. And so on these edges that are going to be exposed and they've gone and put a frickin' nub there, I want to have those as smooth as possible and not actually have a hole. So that was my reasoning for grabbing the God hand nippers for those two pieces there, because they are actual going on the outside here, like this. Now, is there a particular order? No, it doesn't say so. See, that's exposed there, right? So I wanted to make sure that nub is nice and gone. And in fact, I still got to work on that a little bit. It's kind of sticking out and not flush. There we go. All right. Okay, once again, that down on there. All kinds of spots on the inside that show to line it up and get it all lined up on the bracing. You could just slather a bunch of glue on the bracing and throw it on there, but you don't want to do that either. Just kind of work my way around it with the glue. Technically don't even need to clamp it. It's not like it's wanting to spread apart or anything like that. It's just extra precaution to make sure it gets together and stays together. You know, it's focused on the book and you're holding the stuff just off to the field of view. Oh, because I'm holding it like this. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, let's fix that, shall we? Let's see here. This. This, and we'll do that. Now when I'm holding it, it's actually on there. Okay. Thanks, you, Ella. And now we have our bottom piece. Oh yeah, we've got all these little ledges for it to sit on. Just like that. Sits in there quite nicely. A little bit of pressure to keep it seated. There we go. And there's our little, they call it the turret assembly, but where's the gun? I guess this is the rear. The barrel's going to come up this side. And I suppose there is actually a little bit of an interior, because next is the gun breech assembly, which is going to go inside, and so you would see it through this hatch, but if I have this hatch open, you'll be able to see it too. So let's see, we want C2, or C3, 4, and 42. The gun breech assembly. And again, if you're going to have the hatches all closed, then there's really no point in this. I need 42. big nubs, big nubs. Big nubs. Let's see, it's focused on I'm waiting for them to have a part, C3PO. Yeah, we got C3, and I've probably had, well, no, I guess not. I haven't had PO. They don't have 0 as a part number. It's always 1 to something. I've had an R2, and I've had a D2. But not a C3 and a PO. Okay, so these two halves go together and go like this, and then this guy goes on I guess he goes in here. Goes on the side like this, and so I've got a couple little, they've got little pins sticking out. Is it supposed to be a guide to keep it from not going flush, so that it sticks out a little bit? Maybe? Could very well be. Keep it like that. Anyway, let's glue it together. Those, and then this one we're just going to put this and then there. Okay, and there's our breech assembly, or at least the start of it, which is going to finish off this page. And I'm going to take my little niblets, get rid of them, flip the page. Oh, we got a couple of polycaps. Oh, the last two. The last two polycaps. Which is nice. That tells me that this turret is actually going to be able to go be positioned up and down, which I've noticed on some kits the turret is at a fixed level, and although it can rotate, it won't go up and down. I've had that situation on Tamiya kits, and it kind of sucks. It takes away from that immersion of it being a real version of just small, right? C35 and 36, these two here. does not appear to be any left or right. Just put them in like this and like this. There might be, I think there actually might be a left and right. There's a little notch here, and it looks like it's on the top. There isn't a notch on this side, so I'm going to do it this way. Don't glue those, and then, but you do take this and you put it through there. And it goes like that. Bit of a tight fit, that's fine. Yeah, so you can see it a little bit through here. If I get the right angle for you on the camera right there, you can see it's not going to be a lot that you can see inside there, but yeah, it's just the way it is, right? And of course we're going to have a cover on here, you're never going to see that, so yeah. Okay, so let's glue our parts on here. Make sure we're nice and tight. All right. There we go. So we're going to have a little bit of movement. This is going to be able to rotate up and down like that. Right. We got a couple of pieces, little handles that got to go on top here. We got C15, 48, and 51. Well, we got 3 times C15. It's going to go dink, dank, and doink. Here we are here. And we want C48. Our little cover for the little clear window. That's what 48 is. You can tell already just by looking at it. And C51 is another handle. There we go. C51 has this little piece I need to clean off. Okay. Alright, so we're going to first take our little U-bolt, for lack of a better term. One. Two. I'm going to make sure they are perpendicular, straight up and down. Third one. here. Just like that. Put a little bit of pressure just to make sure it's seated in the hole correctly. There we go. We have our piece here. I just want to make sure it's cleaned up on the edges where it was attached on the sprue. I want to do a test fit on this before I put glue on it. In fact, it's tight enough. I'm going to do that and I'll use this. Perfect. And lastly, our little bar here. It's going to go on like this. Just like that. Okay. And that's it for the turret part. At least that anyway. Let's see where we're at here. Okay. Let's do the barrel. Okay. We're going to do the, or they call it the gun mantle and the barrel. Okay. So we want C20. 16, 18, 14, 21, 47. It's actually a lot of pieces. Now it appears that we have two different options for this piece. They're calling for C20. And of course this is 18 and 19. So, well, C20 is a tiny little piece. Never mind, never mind. They're saying C18, okay? So we want this one. We don't want 19. We want 18. Well, why did they give us 19? It's got an extra little piece here. This one right here. Little molding in there that this one has different. So, I'm not sure. I can only assume it's the same mold but for a different kit. It's all I can do is assume that. We want 14, 21. Where are you? 13, 14. Little ring. And 47. And we need 20. Okay, there's all our pieces we need. Let's get them all cleaned up, shall we? I know amongst armor modelers there's a tendency to change the barrels and buy the metal ones. I personally Now, this is just my opinion. I don't think it's worth the trouble. I think, for the most part, and this is my experience, for the most part, the barrels that come in the kits are plenty good enough. If you're worried about seam lines and the fact that the barrel, you can see the separation, well, it's no different than, you know, let's say the missiles on an airplane. Okay, this guy, they want it going in through from the back. It's going to be a little hard to get in there. Here we go. Such a tiny, tiny little gun, it doesn't even stick out. Just making sure it's centered. Okay, so we got a tiny, tiny, tiny little gun barrel sticking through there. Now we want to have this piece on here. I got a little nub cleanup to do here. I suppose one could argue on these kits you have the detail in some spots that when you start to sand away on the barrel, because you're trying to get rid of the seam line, you could accidentally get rid of the detail. So that's going to go on there like this. What I actually want to do, I want to make sure that our seam line is nice and disappeared. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to take my 2000 grit sanding sponge, just clean it up a little bit before anything is glued onto it. Woohoo! Because this is not too aggressive as sandpaper, it actually almost polishes it a little bit while getting rid of that little tiny bit of a burr from the thing, and now I can't even feel it, so that is perfect. And now I can glue. Next we want C14, which is that little ring that I had taken off of there. I have to clean it up too though. Okay. This one is just kind of almost need to do this. It's just a little ring. It's going to go in the end of it. So I just want to make sure it's going to fit in there. It's going to go in here. And this guy, if I can hold on to him. This is where this thing falls into the category of unnecessary detail. That's all I can say. It's not necessary to put this little ring in here. It just sits in there and has no extra function. And then this thing goes on the end. And again, it's no real extra function to it. It just sits in there. Alright, so there's our barrel. I do have to clean this up just a little bit here. Alright, our barrel, ready to go. And our barrel goes in here. Get that lined up properly and it should just fit right in like that. Doink. Just like that. Bang. Just like that. We have one more piece to put on there before we actually attach this. This doesn't just go like this. There's another piece to put. And that would be C34. We're going to skip ahead. Next is the machine gun that's going to go on top. And then the hatch piece, right? That's going to be next. But let's just skip ahead and we'll put this on the front. Okay? So we need C34. Okay, we'll do that, and then I'm going to call it a day. That is not a nub, that's going to stay. This is a nub, however, and that's going to go. flashing on here. Doink, get rid of that. Okay, so it looks like this is going to go in like this. And that's going to get glued on. This is still functional. And then this goes on to that. And we want their little gun barrel on this side. Okay, so I've got a couple of nub marks on each side I need to clean up. These are exposed. So these are going to be seen. So they got to be nice. Got to make them nice. Of course, the painting and weathering is going to hide any, or it's going to hide a lot of imperfections. And that's going to be it, just like that. That's as much as, that's how deep as it goes. Okay. Glue on the inside only. Just like that. Done. And that's a really perfect fit. And again, we can move our turret, move that barrel up and down. Let's get centered on the camera here a little bit. I changed this one to 4K, and that's why. So this one, so it's 4K. That's why it's zoomed in a lot more. There we go. We can move our actual barrel up and down. And that little thing actually acts as a stop. It only goes up that high. Now this particular turret is one of the first ones I've seen where I've got these little locking pins. So this is going to go snap down onto this ring. Normally they've got little notches in the rings so that you just position it in a certain spot and it locks in and you turn, and now the turret's on there. This is going to be a permanent mount on there when we actually get to that point. But we're getting there. And yeah, starting to see how it's going to all come about. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. And yeah, sure enough, here's our little thing for the barrel to rest down on when it gets there. Does it go that low? Oh yeah. We actually can point down. That's cool. So yeah, we can have the actual barrel can rest on that. There's another piece you can glue if you wanted to have it in its stowed position. You can have, there's a piece that you can glue over top and actually lock the barrel down. We're not going to do that though. Yes, pew 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 soon. So we're going to leave it there for now, guys. That's it for today. And if you like my videos and you like what I'm doing, then why not hit the like button down below there? That would be really appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for coming out. Subscribers, thank you again. You do not understand how much I appreciate that. It's really awesome. So that's going to be it for now. I am throughout the week, you know, I don't have much time. I don't get a chance to actually do videos, but I'm going to work on more of these little kibbles and bits that go on the sides during the week, and we'll get those assembled on there so that we can continue on and yeah, put the machine gun together and the hatch that actually goes on top there, and get that put on along with our anti-aircraft armor, and that's going to be about it for the assembly. And then it'll be all about painting. Yeah, so we're going to leave it at that for now, and thank you guys again, and thanks for coming out, thanks for watching, and yeah, I guess we'll see you all in the next one.